concerns. I'm wondering again, just going back to 30,000 feet for people that are trying to follow all of this, what does your client want at the end of the day? Why is she doing this?
Well, at this point, she wants the truth and nothing but the truth to be laid bare for the American people. The American people deserve to know what happened with this agreement, whether Mr. Trump knew about it, whether he knew about the $130,000, and what happened in connection with that payment. She wants the lies to say, she wants the lies and the deception and the games to stop. This is a very simple matter when you really get down to it.
And why does that matter?
Well, it should matter to all Americans. It should matter to all Americans.
No, but why does that matter? Why does that matter to her?
Well,
it's not her
matters,
responsibility to stick her neck out and go through this, and as she said, have her family go through this. Why does this matter to her?
It matters to her, Joe, because months ago, when Mr. Cohen gave his initial statement to the Wall Street Journal and followed that up with information that was disseminated through the press, that information and those statements were false about her. She's upset about it, she's angry about it, and she didn't deserve to be treated that way. And that's why it matters to her, Joe. The cover-up. It's about Mr. Cohen lying to the American people about this agreement and the fact that Mr. Trump didn't know anything about it. I mean, the idea, let me say this, the idea that Mr. Cohen drafted an agreement entirely on his own without any knowledge of Mr. Trump, and he never expected Mr. Trump to ever know anything about it, then why did he put Mr. Trump in the agreement, and why is there a signature line for Mr. Trump if he never thought Mr. Trump was ever going to know about the agreement? It makes no sense. This is a lie, but it's not a good lie, and we're going to get to the bottom of it, and we're going to blow it out of the water for the American people, and when the truth comes out, the truth is going to be very, very ugly for Mr. Cohen and the president.
What does that tell you, and why was he unable, for whatever reason, to say he was not reimbursed by Mr. Trump or Mr. Trump's representatives?
Mr. Cohen is engaged in what we call in the profession lawyer speak. What he did not say was that Mr. Trump did not reimburse him.
No, he didn't.
What he did not say was another surrogate for Mr. Trump did not reimburse him. What he did not say was that he paid it. What he said was he facilitated it. It's a very interesting word, facilitate.
Yeah.
He is engaged in lawyer speak as opposed to straight speak. I don't care if you're on the left, the right, or in the middle. As it relates to this issue right now, you deserve straight speak. Straight speak by Mr. Cohen, straight speak from the administration.
Sure.
All the time.
I'm sure.
So there are always problems. In any business, there's always problems.
You buy it?
Well, no, I actually believe that. I believe that there were a ton of porn stars and a ton of playmates. I do believe that, because that's what he's saying. This isn't unusual. Evidently, there were all kinds of women that would come out of the woodwork due to their prior relationships with the president, and that's why he had Mr. Cohen on speed dial, his fixer. If you don't have a lot of problems, Aaron, and if you're not doing things you shouldn't be doing, you don't need a full-time 24 hours.
No, the arbitrator narrative. This agreement is horrible. The arbitrator is horrible. When the judge rules against him, he's going to be horrible. When it doesn't go into your narrative, everybody's horrible.
Was Stormy Daniels contacted about this arbitration?
In fact, if it's not why do you even go through the trouble of bringing this?
By the way, are you licensed in California?
Are
you licensed in California?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Why don't you go?
Wait a minute. You're not licensed in California.
Why don't you go through? Why'd you go through the trouble of
filing
filing
this? Hold on. I want to make sure that I understood this correctly. I want to make sure I understood this correctly.
Yeah.
This contract is going to be governed by California law.
Yeah, I read California law.
Right.
I'm allowed to talk about it.
You're not licensed in California?
Right.
And you're here opining?
Absolutely.
And pointing your finger and engaging in all this bombastic nonsense?
Bombastic.
And you're not even licensed?
The only thing that's bombastic is this complaint talking about another lawyer's ethics. It had nothing
I'm
to do.
shocked. I thought you were licensed.
It had nothing to do. No, I'm licensed in Washington and New York.
Okay, well, we're not. This contract's not being governed by Washington.
Yeah, I read California law.
All of it?
Yeah, you're the one that's telling your client to break a contract. And you know what? You're the one. So I hope you have a good malpractice policy, because when she owes $20 million, she should go after you to collect the money.
Anderson, you know the last time an attorney pointed at me like this and made threats like this, I tagged him for $454 million. And this is going to be another instance. And let me just ask this. Let me ask this, okay?
Please do.
You're a very passionate guy, okay, on behalf of your friend, Michael Cohen.
My client.
Okay, your client, Michael Cohen.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If Michael Cohen is such a stand-up guy, where is he? No. Where is this guy? Why won't he come and sit?
he'll come.
Why won't he come and sit
because
in this
obviously
chair? Wait a minute, let me finish.
There's other. I want to answer that question.
Let me finish.
You
Because
can.
he's been invited numerous times.
Okay.
He won't come on the
Right.
show.
So
he's dodging the question.
He is not dodging
the question. He has to
There
hide
are
behind you. Where is this guy?
There are other
Where is this guy?
investigations going on. I knew there was
No,
some
but
sort
where
of
is
problem.
this guy?
I was wondering what was
No,
in
but
that
where
brown
is he?
envelope.
Where is he?
He's going to come
Here
out.
he is.
He
Where
can't
is
wait.
he?
Believe me, he can't wait to come here and
Can't
sit with
wait.
you and talk about
Can't
this
wait.
case.
He can give an interview to
Bottom-
Vanity Fair, but he can't come on
bottom
this
line
show.
is-
Doesn't make any sense. Anderson, there's a common pattern here. And the common pattern we see is as follows. When it's convenient for the president and Mr. Cohen to point to different entities and claim that they are separate, i.e. EC, LLC, and the Trump Organization, they do so. However, when it's convenient for them to claim otherwise, they claim just the opposite, that they're one and the same. And I'll give you an example. The temporary restraining order that Mr. Cohen went out and received
Which is valid.
got from the arbitrator. Well, I disagree, but that's neither here nor there.
It's valid.
That's neither here nor there. It's in the name EC, LLC. We can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. EC, LLC, pursuant to the agreement, wasn't even permitted to go out and get a temporary restraining order. You know the party that was
But they got it.
You know the party that was permitted to go out and get the temporary restraining order? Donald Trump. Yeah, they got it.
Somehow the arbitrator disagrees with you.
No, the arbitrator didn't disagree with us because it was a unilateral act. The arbitrator had no contrary. It's like playing a football game and the other team doesn't even show up.
When it fits into his narrative, it's
and then
fine.
you claim victory.
That you would have an experienced, educated attorney like Mr. Cohen who would run off half-cocked without any knowledge of his client, that he would negotiate and draft a detailed agreement that included his client as a party, that he would engage in weeks of negotiation, that he would reach agreement, that he would then send $130,000 in connection with that agreement, that he would then later institute an arbitration proceeding without knowledge of his client. All of this, to those of us that practice under the law as attorneys, it's ludicrous.
Wouldn't it be unethical?
Absolutely. We have an ethical obligation to inform our clients at all times of all material facts. It's one of the basic tenets of what we do. And the idea that somehow President Trump didn't know anything about this and that Attorney Cohen was just running off and doing what he thought was best without any consultation with President Trump, it is patently absurd.
You do acknowledge, though, in your
the
lawsuit
notion
that
that
he's saying that it's defamatory.
File a lawsuit. Look, the
Well,
majority
you
of
got the letter
American-
yesterday.
So wait a minute. Last time, you didn't let me talk. This time,
I'm letting
you're
you
gonna,
talk.
No, this time you are going to let me talk. Otherwise,
I let you
otherwise we're
talk.
going to have to get the defibrillator out for you, and I'm concerned about it. So let me
go
talk to you,
for it.
all right?
Go
All right?
for it.
All right,
Yeah.
I almost brought it. I almost brought it today. I almost brought the defibrillator.
Please,
Let me
please,
finish.
go for it.
All right,
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
Look, the American people saw last night something that they haven't seen from Michael Cohen. They actually saw my client answer questions by a world-renowned journalist who asked tough questions. She sat in an interview for 2 hours or thereabouts, and she faced the tough questions, and she answered them. It's very simple. My client sat down, she answered the questions. 90% of America found her credible. Why hasn't Michael Cohen sat down, forget 2 hours, I'll take 20 minutes, how about 10 minutes, and answered the questions. Instead, he sends you, you're not even involved in the case. Are you ever going to make an appearance in the case? Let's talk about Michael Cohen, what kind of man this is. This is the kind of guy who claimed in connection with that story that there's no such thing as spousal rape. This is a legal genius. Right. Completely false. The guy doesn't even know the law. He's a thug. Your friend is a thug.
Well, thank you.
Is a thug.
That's $1 million.
No, that's $3 million.
$1 million.
Thug.
You know what?
Thug.
You're a thug.
Thug.
Anyone who would come on here.
Wait a second.
Anyone.
If you believe him and his close friend, Michael Cohen.
My client. Yeah, and he is a friend.
Oh, your client. Okay. If the American people want to believe them, they have to conclude as follows, Anderson. Michael Cohen got a call from a woman who was completely unbelievable, had no credibility. This woman claimed that she had an affair with Donald Trump a couple weeks before the end of the campaign. They didn't believe her.
They thought she was completely full of it. It was all BS. And in response to that, instead of behaving the way that he behaves tonight here, instead of behaving the way that Michael Cohen has behaved in the past, they just rolled over and paid her $130,000 for no reason, even though they thought the entire thing was bullshit.
Unfortunately,
now, wait a minute.
happens.
I'm not done. I'm not done. If that's true,
it's actually a cheap
if
price.
that's true, I would encourage every American tomorrow morning to call Mr. Schwartz in his office, Mr. Cohen, claim you had an affair with the president. Right. They will promptly send you a check for $130,000. No questions asked.
To avoid litigation.
To quote the late Hal Heflin, Democratic senator from the great state of Alabama, he said, when the facts are on your side, you argue the facts. When the law is on your side, you argue the law. When you have neither the law nor the facts, you pound the table. That's what's going on right here.
Well, you could do
every time. We're pound the table, boisterous,
let's
is louder than you talk.
Let's talk
it doesn't.
the law.
Well, I'm waiting for you to come into the case. When are you going to get off the sidelines? Get off the sidelines.
Let me say this. I hope that David Schwartz is not entrusted with the nuclear launch codes, because if so, we're in a lot of trouble.
Michael, thanks for joining us. Let's start with that cease and desist letter from Michael Cohen's attorney last night. Your reaction?
Michael Cohen needs to be less concerned about role-playing Ray Donovan and more concerned about coming clean to the American people.
You did put out that tweet a few days ago showing that CD saying a picture's worth 1,000 words. How much could this one be worth? Why put out that tease if you're not going to show the evidence?
Because it was a warning shot to Mr. Cohen and the president that they better be very careful about denying what happened. And what's interesting is we get a cease and desist letter. Where's the statement from the president and Mr. Cohen claiming the affair didn't happen? Where's the statement from them claiming...
Well, they've said that many times in the past.
Well, no, actually, the president has never denied that. He's never denied it. He's been silent. He can tweet on every other subject known to mankind, but for some reason, he can't come out and deny the affair. He can't come out and deny the existence of the agreement and his knowledge of it, and he can't come out and deny the $130,000 payment. Why is that?